Thanks for staying with us. Now, joining me in studio is NCIC Commissioner Gitile Naituli. Professor, thank you for joining me. Now, let's talk about this whole issue of Moi University. Has been going on for the last week or so. This actually is the second incident of political interference, if you will, in the appointment of a VC. Why do you think this is coming up now? Why has it escalated to this point?
Yeah, the other incident was actually around Rubadiri University.
Funny enough, in the same county.
In the same county.
Yeah.
And I think this is escalating because the new cabinet secretary is getting handle on what has been happening in the university in terms of corruption in the university system. Because as you know, the universities now became the bedrock for corruption in the country. That's why there has been wars across the national universities, from Jomo Kenyatta, from Nairobi University, from Kenyatta University, and they are the people who have been fought and DVCs for finance and administration.
So you're saying underneath this ethnicity talk is
money? It
money.
is corruption, is money, is corruption networks. So my take is that these people are afraid of a new person they don't know who will come and unravel the corruption networks. So they're basically defending their turf, because I don't believe that these people are that foolish to dictate on the government who should run in national institutions.
Right.
I don't believe that, because otherwise they would not have been elected. So these are clever Kenyans. They know exactly what they are doing, except by doing so, they're also putting the country into trouble because they are organizing us. Because other people can also respond who don't know exactly the root cause of what they are doing.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And of course, there was the Ministry of Education that says they're going to release some new guidelines to help in this issue of ethnicity in the schools, and basically having the schools release reports on an annual basis on the state of the university in terms of governance, leadership, financial issues. What do you make of that? Will that help?
It will help, and I think the new cabinet secretary seems actually to know exactly what he is doing. That will help, because what has happened is for a long time the university has really become terribly rotten. The ethnicity and the tribalism in the university is beyond any other organization we have seen, because we have done research. We have audited all these organizations. To some extent, it has gone beyond normal tribalism to clanism. So you will find 80% of the people working in a certain university actually come from the clan, which the vice chancellor come from.
Right.
So it has gone beyond. Now, if the minister can insist on annual returns, that will help. It may also help if we can go further and insist on auditing of the students' intake, both from main campuses and from satellite campuses.
Right.
Because this corruption in the university is formed by the fact that the government auditors are not strong enough to deal with these professors.
Right, right.
And to go underneath and reconcile a number of students. You see, a student is just a production item in business. The student enters the production line at the first year, and exits the production line into the market on the fourth year. So you mean to take all that and reconcile.
Right.
And then the project that the university are engaged in, all these projects, the government auditors come, they are given an office and some yogurt, and they cover up and go home.
Right.
So if the minister can insist on a counter checking and figure out how to own into account the government auditors who are unable to see incidences of corruption in previous audits, then we can begin to fix the university system.
So you mentioned now the issue of ethnicity has moved from tribe to clan. It's really entrenching itself.
Yeah.
And beyond the Ministry of Education putting in guidelines, that's good. But we also need to change attitudes on the ground. And how is the NCIC doing that?
What we are doing is, first, we realized the act was written fairly quickly because of the unfortunate situation which we found ourselves in 2007-2008. So there is a lot of controls which would have been put in the act, which were not put. We have put those now. And we have submitted the act in Parliament to assist us, for example, to hold the Vice Chancellor to account, and the people who employ, if there is skewedness in employment. Right now, all we can do is to tell them to cease. We can't arrest them. We would like to be able to do more than just advising them to cease. That is one. The other thing we are doing is also to do research and to tell the public what is happening. So we have already done an audit for all the universities, and we know which ones are really bad, and which ones are moderate, and which ones are very good.
Right.
By and large, the Nairobi universities have remained national, even with their issues of finance and so on. They have fairly remained national, okay? But the universities out there, these campuses which are running by their village men, these campuses are really giving a very bad picture of how Kenya should look like. And there's nearly all of them, because you start from Coast, from Pwani,
Right.
you go to Technical University, you go to Kabianga. Kabianga is probably the worst in terms of local employment of the, transcending into the clan level.
Yeah.
And then you go to Karatina, to Chuka, to Meru. It's all of them. It's really a very bad picture, because universities weren't wind. They hire even international scholars.
Yeah.
So as you look like we are not even hiring Kenyans, let alone international scholars.
Yeah.
We are down hiring in the people in the village who now make the education, even in the whole university environment, no longer reflect the normal university environment where diversity.
And let's talk about the people who actually drive the agenda on the ground, the politicians, because we've seen very brash attitudes from people like Governor Mandago and Tolgos, who have refused to publicly apologize, even though the Interior Cabinet Secretary said that we will prosecute you if you do not. So what do you make of those kinds of actions from the local leaders?
Actually, I don't think the CS should have asked them to apologize. I know the Cabinet Secretary Nkaiseri is an extremely very strong Kenyan. We needed to insist on fidelity to the law. We cannot move beyond that. When you break the law, you can't apologize unless you go to the judge. We shouldn't accept an apology of breach of law. What those people did was pure incitement, pure and simple. It was also a threat to that individual who they didn't want.
Right.
And therefore, what I think is the investigation needs to be done the normal way we do it. Because we go out, we collect information on transgression on the law, then we add that information, the file, to the DPP, the Director of Public Prosecution, who then goes through it, and if he establishes that we have a strong case, then now it involves the court, so that those people boasting, thinking that they are being threatened by Nkaiseri or by my chairman,
Right.
they can deal now with the court of law, because it's both the Minister for Internal Security and our chairman at the National Cohesion and Integration, Mheshimiwa Kaparo. None of them actually do the arresting. It is the law which these people have to deal with. So it's very sad, it's a bad image for the country, because these are lawmakers and the governor.
Exactly.
These people should show serious fidelity to the law. If they have a problem with the process, they know what to do. They go to court. They don't go to evict.
Right.
The moment you go to evict, you have broken the law, and therefore there is no room for an apology.
Right.
There is only room for taking you to court.
All right. Thank you so much, Commissioner. That's all the time that we have. But clearly, a lot of work needs to be done beyond guidelines, beyond attitude change.
Yes,
Thank you so much.